To his critics, he was a white oligarch who fought to keep Bermuda racially divided. To his admirers, he transformed Bermuda from a quiet island into a modern democracy and thriving economy. But no matter what your opinion, there is no doubt that Sir Henry Tucker introduced universal suffrage, desegregation, and a host of other reforms that brought political stability to Bermuda. Upon that stable political foundation, he built the tourism and international company industries that made Bermuda the envy of the world. But success did not come easy for Sir Henry Tucker, also known as Jack Tucker. He grew up as a poor relative to his wealthy cousins. Though the young Henry Tucker excelled in school, his father could not afford to send him to university. As a young man in the 1920s, he tried everything, from oil prospecting in Oklahoma to Wall Street. But every new scheme led to disaster. After the stock market crash of 1929, he returned to Bermuda completely bankrupt. After working as a school teacher, Sir Henry found a job at the Bank of Bermuda. At this point, the young man's fortunes began to turn. Through his contacts on Wall Street and his position at the Bank of Bermuda, Sir Henry convinced the Lifesavers Candy Company to set up a subsidiary in Bermuda in 1935. Bermuda's international company business was born. In 1938, Sir Henry was elected to Parliament. That same year, he was promoted to General Manager of the Bank of Bermuda, a position he retained for the next 3 decades. During those decades, he and several others transformed Bermuda into the Switzerland of the Atlantic. Despite his successes, Sir Henry was a man of contradictions. Though he was against women's suffrage when he was elected, by 1944 he had successfully passed a law allowing women to vote. He was against allowing Bermudians to vote if they did not own land. In addition, he did not believe in racial integration. In short, Sir Henry was a man with very traditional views, but destiny would change every one of his firmest opinions. In 1940, the U.S. and Britain agreed to build a U.S. base, which would cover Warwick, Southampton, and a large part of the Great Sound. Sir Henry, Sir John Cox, and Sir Howard Trott successfully convinced the British government to move the base to Castle Harbor and St. David's. This victory saved Bermuda from being cut in two. After World War II, Sir Henry and Sir Howard Trott convinced the U.S. to open the base to commercial air traffic. This allowed U.S. tourists to fly to Bermuda in only a few hours. The age of modern Caribbean tourism was born. By 1950, tourism was growing fast. But Sir Henry and other MPs did not want Bermuda to depend on only one source of income, so they introduced the Exempted Companies Act. This act meant international companies could operate in Bermuda without many of the restrictions imposed on local companies. The act became a keystone for Bermuda's exempted company business. But as Bermuda's economy grew, the injustices and inequalities of our society became more obvious. Black people were fed up with being second-class citizens. Bermuda and her mostly white government were suddenly facing political instability. In 1963, the PLP was formed. The following year, Sir Henry and others formed the UBP and won control of the government. Under Sir Henry, the UBP initiated a raft of highly progressive political reforms. All adults got the right to vote. Education was made free until the end of secondary school. All public schools were desegregated, and old-age pensions for all were initiated. Most importantly, under Sir Henry Tucker, the UBP government gave all Bermudians the right to vote. Sir Henry also recruited several black MPs to the UBP. Sir Henry and the UBP won the 1968 election by a landslide. After that, the UBP did not lose an election for 30 years. Sir Henry was so admired that he received 2 knighthoods, one in 1961 and another in 1972. By the time of his second knighthood, Sir Henry had finally stepped down from government and the top position at the Bank of Bermuda. The man he left in command of the government was none other than E.T. Richards, Bermuda's first black premier. Sir Henry's House seat was taken over by another immortal black political figure, Sir John Swan. Sir Henry Tucker died in 1986 at the age of 83. During his life, he had his share of critics. Dr. E.F. Gordon fought him tooth and nail. Many said Sir Henry only agreed to political reforms because he knew he would benefit from political stability. Perhaps the truth is that Sir Henry had the wisdom to listen to his critics when they had sensible ideas. Because he did this, the Bermuda Sir Henry Tucker left behind was nothing short of an economic and social miracle.